Colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Sally McManus, elected only a few days ago to the position of Secretary of the ACTU, Australian Council of Trade Union, 10th elected position, but the first time in the organisation's 90-year history that a woman has been elected to that position. Sally, of course, started this position with a bit of a bang. And I just want to say a couple of things about that. And firstly, you know the media comments that I'm referring to. And we need to place on our record that we have participated in many illegal strikes over the years. and indeed have been fined for doing so. And Howard Zinn said this: civil disobedience is not our problem. Our problem is civil obedience. Our problem is that people all over the world have obeyed the dictates of leaders and millions have been killed because of this obedience. Our problem is that people are obedient all over the world in the face of poverty and starvation and stupidity and war and cruelty. Our problem is that people are obedient while the jails are full of petty thieves and the grand thieves are running the country. That's our problem. Can you please welcome Sally McManus?
Thank you. Thank you. I want to pay my respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. This is my very first speech to a group of union delegates, unionists face-to-face. And I'm very proud it is the New South Wales Teachers Federation that I'm doing it to. And that's for a really special reason. I've had the opportunity over the last week, really, lots of people have asked me, what inspired you to become part of the union movement? And I didn't have to think too hard about that because the reasons, is burnt in my memory. So I went to school in northwestern Sydney. I went to Carlingford High School, public school, and I was there when the Liberal government got elected, and there was a bloke called Terry Metherell who was the... Oh, you remember him? Teachers have long memories, obviously.
We certainly do.
And my Year 11 history teacher was sacked. And so this was when you're just starting to study for the HSC. I'm actually the first person in my family who's finished high school. And so she was sacked and, just didn't turn up. And that was just one. I know she was just one of many, many teachers across the state who were sacked by Terry Metherell. I remember so clearly listening to the teachers talk about, they weren't trying to involve us, but you couldn't avoid it, talking about what was going on. And then the calling of that strike, I do believe it might have been an illegal strike, in 1988. And students joining with teachers and participating in that. And coming from Carlingford, the public transport's terrible. It's actually a really big deal to get all the way into the city, and I don't even think I'd probably been there many times, if at all. And so eventually got on the train at Epping train station, and I just remember seeing all of the trains coming past full of students and teachers, and there was banners and there was streamers coming out of them, and getting off at Central Station and having this stream of people all go to the Domain. And what I remember, I don't actually remember you singing, Maury, but I do know that you were, but sorry, I don't remember that yet. But what I remember is the feeling. I remember the feeling of looking around me, and there was 50,000 other people, students and teachers, and I felt a feeling of power. I felt a feeling of power that you never feel unless you're part of something. When you're part of something, a collective, people deciding to stick together. And that's us, that's union power. That's what I felt that day. So basically, it's all your fault. All of my comments are all your fault. there's another type of power that exists in our society, and over the last 20 years, they at the top have got more and more powerful as wealth has been transferred to the top. You know, our two wealthiest billionaires earn more than 6 million of us. That's where we've got to. And they go about just avoiding our laws all the time, like they do with tax laws. They've got an armada of lawyers that will find out all the ways out of it so they don't pay their fair share of tax. Those laws clearly aren't working, they're clearly not strong enough. And in the same way, they've done the same to our rights at work. So when they don't like the laws, they just find out ways around them. It's always been the case that there's been a so-called black economy out there in terms of your cafes and being paid less than what the minimum wage is. That's been around for a while. But now it's actually a business model for a whole lot of companies. That's what we saw with 7-Eleven. That's a business model. They're deliberately going about organising things so they don't even have to follow the laws that we've built up, the trade union movement have built up. And it's just like, you know, the issue of underpayments is the issue of penalty rates. Is there any more example of how broken our laws are when the independent umpire can make a decision cutting the pay of workers in the retail and hospitality? Do you know how many workers there are in retail and hospitality? 700,000 workers, 700,000 workers. We as a trade union movement can never accept that. We can never, ever accept workers having their pay cut. And we need to stand up for all of those workers that face a pay cut on the 1st of July, unless we stand up and fight for them. And if we can't get our governments, if we can't get them to change the laws now, we need to keep fighting and fighting and fighting until they are changed. So it's such a fundamental issue for us that the laws that we have built, the working people of Australia have built to defend Australian workers and protect Australian workers, are no longer strong enough. And we are going to have to campaign to change them. We're going to have to build a huge movement if we want to change those laws, because guess what? The rich and powerful won't like it. They won't like it. Just like they don't like the things I've said. So, you know, today in The Australian, there's several articles attacking me, and I've had lots of lovely phone calls from people, you know, asking, am I okay? I'm okay. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. So what I'd asked of the Mighty Teachers Federation is to be the leaders in this fight that we're going to need to have to change the laws to bring fairness back to Australia. And I'll finish there. Thank you.